SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Did you know Toyota of Brookhaven has sold more new vehicles the last 2 years than any other dealership in Southwest Mississippi? Come see why. Exit 40 Brookhaven or online at ToyotaBrookhaven.com. Great service, great savings. At Toyota of Brookhaven, we deliver.
What's up, everybody? Welcome in on this Sunday night to this edition of the podcast. I really appreciate you being here, as you always are. I want to start again by inviting you, please, if you are watching on YouTube, if you're listening on YouTube, your subscription to the podcast feed is something that I want you to do. Please do subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Just search Rebel Report and subscribe and leave a rating and a review if you like what you hear anyway. But please subscribe to the podcast feed. I'd really appreciate that as I welcome you in on this Sunday. We are talking Trinidad next step. You guys all know by now, and I'm sure you've heard and listened to commentary about him getting denied his waiver from the NCAA, although the story probably not over there. We obviously talked about it a lot on the radio show on Friday, but I have not had a chance to talk to you guys since that happened. And so I've got some quick thoughts on that. I don't want to belabor the point because I think this week we're going to learn a lot this week. And so, I mean, maybe by this time tomorrow, it'll already be old news. And you guys have already talked about it and you've heard about it. So I don't want to beat that into the ground. And also very, very active portal weekend, both with players coming in and players going out. One of them, I think, is significant. So we will talk about all of that. And, of course, read your comments on this edition of the show. My name is Michael Borky. And before we get in, I want to tell you about Logan Smith, Shelter Insurance. Logan Smith is his name. He's the new partner, one of the new partners that we will have in 2026 on this podcast. He can service you anywhere in Mississippi for home, auto, life, and business insurance. If you are like me, I've got a 6-year-old, and I have not really gotten my life insurance will type stuff together yet. And that I'm going to Logan Smith to help me out with that because if I die, sorry, I just hit the microphone. If I die, he and his mom need to be taken care of by me. That needs to happen. And right now, I don't have it set up the way I need to. And so Logan Smith is going to help me out, but he also can do home and auto and business. He can take care of you anywhere in Mississippi. Give him a call, 601-823-3500, 601-823-3500. Logan Smith, Shelter Insurance. Give him a call, get a quote, switch to him today. You might be surprised, too, how much you're overpaying for auto insurance. Hand up. I was in that boat. So check him out, Logan Smith, Shelter Insurance, taking care of you anywhere in Mississippi. So, as you guys know, Trinidad Chambliss was denied his waiver from the NCAA. Also, as you guys know, Ole Miss is going to appeal that decision to a higher NCAA committee thing this week. And also, as you know, Tom Mars is on Ole Miss's side preparing to fight this in court. The story does not end with the NCAA's public denial of the waiver while announcing that as he is on the airplane on the way home with his team after a crushing, heartbreaking loss. Timing in the NCAA, an amazing thing. I wish I could offer you guys more concrete stuff. I am trying not to. I'm trying not to speak from a position of knowledge when I don't have said knowledge. I talked to a lot of people this weekend trying to learn more about the process and things like that. What I will tell you, what I think I know is this. Number one, you guys have seen the dueling, basically press releases, one from the NCAA claiming that they've got basically nothing, one from Tom Mars claiming they've got 91 pages of documentation, including recording from somebody at the NCAA saying that their evidence was sufficient. And the NCAA in their release didn't acknowledge that at all. And so you've got he said kind of situation unfolding here. But we do know that his waiver was denied. We do know that Tom Mars is prepared to fight it. We do know that timing is an issue here because draft declaration day is coming rather quickly. And I've been kind of just tweeting about it over the weekend, tweeting through it a little bit, just trying to figure out how to react to this and what the next steps are together, because his draft grade and what the NFL feedback is a pretty important piece here, because let's pretend for a second, right? I haven't really seen this anywhere. I guess Mel Kiper moved him up to QB4, and QB4 could be a second-round pick, I suppose, but let's pretend for a second that he got a second-round grade. Well, if he got a second-round grade, it's a no-brainer to me. You go to the NFL. Here's why. Second-round picks now it's kind of a new phenomenon, but they're getting fully guaranteed contracts. Tyler Shuck of the Saints got a fully guaranteed contract. Now, if Trinidad is able to beat the NCAA and play college football next year, he will get literally double to play quarterback for Ole Miss than what Tyler Shuck will get from the Saints, if you can believe that. That's a real thing. But Tyler Shuck's contract is $10 million fully guaranteed. Fully guaranteed. Every dollar is guaranteed to Tyler Shuck. $10 million fully guaranteed. That, to me, is a no-brainer. You go. But it sounds like the feedback that he has gotten from the NFL side of things, again, I talked to somebody this weekend that would know that's not really the word around. Maybe that could change, I suppose, but he's not really getting that kind of feedback right now. And if you're a third-round grade or below, the $5.5 million from Ole Miss, I guess $6 million from Ole Miss, or approaching $6 million, is greater than whatever you would get from the NFL being a late-round pick, paired with the opportunity to play yourself into that second round, fully guaranteed money, things like that. So the feedback is important, and if it's below a second round, then fighting to stay in school is a no-brainer. So, and it sounds like that's kind of what he's getting, which that would make the fight a no-brainer. But still, the declaration day is fastly approaching. As I understand it, maybe I'm incorrect on this, forgive me. Declaration day is supposed to be like 4 days from now. But if you participated in the college football playoff, you should get extra time. I think they get a little bit extra time. So we're looking at a couple of weeks as opposed to 4 days. I was also told this weekend from somebody that I think would know that Tom Mars is preparing, and they are preparing, to file whatever they need to file in Mississippi tomorrow. Maybe that's changed over the weekend. I don't know. I know Tom Mars' statement said, I'm ready, just waiting on the go-ahead from Trinidad's people. But I was told yesterday that they are preparing a filing tomorrow. And so what does that mean? I don't know. I have asked a couple of people, couple of lawyers, to be honest with you, just about this and, kind of what they think. And both of their answers were like, having not read exactly what they're claiming, generally speaking, you would get a pretty, in Mississippi, you're likely to get a favorable outcome with a more friendly to your institution person that would be making those decisions. It's all about timing and how quickly you can get it done. One of them said if this were tackled months ago, it'd be all good, but because it's happening so late, it might be a problem with the draft. But the concept of them filing and likely getting some favorable positions here locally in Mississippi is a thing that two lawyers that I've spoken to agree with, that sentiment. Do they want to pursue that? I assume so. Again, I was told over the weekend that they're going to file something tomorrow. I have tried to learn about this, and I had one of them explain like temporary restraining orders and injunctions and stuff to me. And after he was done, it was just like, that's not the world that I live in, man. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry you wasted your time. Like, I get what you're saying, but I don't get what you're saying at the same time. But we are in wait and see mode. There's not much more to add. I think by Friday of this week, you're going to have a lot of answers on this front. it certainly sounds like they think that they can provide him the opportunity to play in 2026. Is the legal system in Mississippi, with what they're trying to argue, with how long it takes once you file, if you get an injunction that would allow him to play by the time they actually solve this thing, the season would be over anyway, all that, I suppose. I am looking forward to getting some more hard, concrete answers on this. I have maintained the whole time that, if you file in Mississippi, that you're going to get a pretty favorable position on that. But hearing it from a couple of people in the legal field over the weekend, makes me feel a little bit better for having that opinion. But a lot is up in the air, and there's a lot that we don't know. And I think that we will get more information this week for sure. So, aside from that, I don't know. I truly don't know. I think it's a shame that it took this long for the NCAA to make an official ruling. I know there's been some dialogue back and forth and things like that, but things like this shouldn't take this long. You've got other quarterbacks getting 7th years all across the country. He's only played 2.5 years, actually played 2.5 years of college football. It's, I don't know, man. I know that the case that they were making, at least to the NCAA, was a little bit shaky, as we talked about. But when it comes from a legal perspective, I don't know. People in the field think that there's a real opportunity to get him on the field in 26. We'll see what happens. But it's good that you're in this state. Let's put it that way. All right. So as a result of that, you had Deuce Knight commit to Ole Miss over the weekend, and I think that too many people are trying to do the 1 + 1 = 2. Ole Miss got Deuce Knight committed because Trinidad's not playing next year, and Chase Parham was first on this, and I think it's abundantly clear that Ole Miss was the destination for Deuce the second he hit the portal. It was very unlikely for him to go somewhere else, and it has been very clearly communicated from Ole Miss to him that they're trying to get Trinidad back, and that was still where he was going to end up anyway. And for some reason, it's so interesting, guys. I think people just don't open their eyes anymore. Like, they don't see the world in front of them, because I got so many people in my mentions today. Oh, a talented quarterback would never transfer to a school to sit behind somebody. Oregon starting quarterback that played on Friday night did that very thing. Like, he literally just did that. Julian Sayin did the same thing at Ohio State. The guy that's going to start at Alabama this coming year did the exact same thing. Even Mississippi State had a 5-star quarterback transfer from Florida State to Mississippi State to be a backup. That is a thing that is happening in college football right now. Like, that is happening all across the country, like, right now. And people see that, and it's still like, oh, it's actually not common, when you're seeing how common it is right in front of you. I don't think Deuce Knight's commitment means that Trinidad's gone. That's not how it's been told to me or anybody else. And again, logically, Ole Miss has made it clear to him, hey, trying to get Trinidad back. Deuce Knight, very talented, very raw, only played in one game for Auburn, so he has 4 years of eligibility. Again, he's super athletic. He's a Mississippi kid coming back home. Incredible upside. I have no idea if he's close to his ceiling, but he's got an incredibly tall, high, I guess I should say, ceiling, transferring in from Auburn. I think they need to add one more regardless if they can get Trinidad back or not. The quality of quarterback is dependent on whether or not they can get Trinidad back, but they do need to add one more body in that room, I think. I know people have been talking about Walker Howard. I don't know where that stands on him possibly returning. I know they had Lagway in for a visit this weekend. Doesn't sound like that's going to happen, especially with Trinidad being up in the air. And also, I mean, I would rather gamble on the unknown than the known. And I know he didn't get particularly great coaching at Florida, but Man, Lagway's inability to protect the football is terrifying to me. I would rather just roll with the uber-talented redshirt freshman than Lagway, especially for what the cost would be. But that's just me. So that's kind of where things stand right now. A whole lot of up in the air at the moment, but I do think Deuce Knight has an incredibly high ceiling. We just don't know if he's there yet, but it is a high one. They got Edwin Joseph from Florida State, the safety. He was a 4-star recruit, and he's a 4-star transfer. His rating actually a little bit higher as a transfer, so he improved. He was a star at Florida State. That is he, and then there's another addition as well, Jonell Aguero from Georgia, the strong safety. Aguero got hurt. He did not play in the Sugar Bowl. Sound like there's a bit of a Wally Pipp situation. He gets hurt, and like a freak uber talent freshman steps in and plays brilliantly. And so, not enough playing time to go around for the two of you, and especially in the money game. But those are two guys we talked about after the Fiesta Bowl, especially on the radio show, what Ole Miss was missing. The difference between a great team, and Ole Miss was a great team, and one that would win a championship was a few things, right? It was depth at linebacker. Daugherty and Jones, two really good linebackers. And Daugherty I still don't think he's getting enough appreciation for just how valuable he was for that team this year, making all of the calls. And he did not come out of the game. I mean, he played complete games all the time. And Jones next to him really came on in the back half of the season. But once Jones got hurt, you saw, frankly, how not good enough they were at linebacker once Andrew Jones got hurt in that game in the Fiesta Bowl. So they needed playable linebacker depth. They've addressed that. They've added two, possibly more coming. We'll see. But they've added two highly experienced linebackers to fill in that role. That helps. On the defensive line, they had a really good group of starters, an exceptional group of starters, and they're retaining all except for Xavier Harris, who's off to the NFL. They didn't have enough playable depth on the defensive line. And you saw that because they couldn't rotate the way that they would like to, and that team just got worn down. They didn't have enough bodies behind the starters to become a championship team. That's what Miami was able to exploit. And then the safety position, I thought, was a really bad one this past year. There was one in particular, two, really, that got picked on a lot, and they needed to address that. They've added a couple of defensive backs. Crawford, I think, is a really good one from Auburn in particular, but they needed safety help. And these two guys are, on paper, the types of players that I think were the difference between this team reaching their ceiling and not, because I don't think that these are two getting picked on players the way that two safeties that played for Ole Miss this year were. And so those are two very important pickups to me, just because those are the type of players that I think this team was missing, and Ole Miss went out and got them. The last pickup this weekend, Brady Priestcorn. You guys know that name. He's the tight end from Michigan. He was a 4-star recruit. He's a big kid, has not played all that much at Michigan. I know people are really excited because of his name and things like that. But I don't know what they see his role being on the 2026 team. Maybe it's huge. I don't know. But returning Has and Odom, and some people want Odom to switch to wide receiver. I disagree. I think that the two of those guys need to stay in the tight end room. I think you're good there, and just on the surface without knowing. I'm just talking with you guys. It's what I do. I'm not special. I'm just a talker. This looks to me like a depth ad as opposed to come in and start and like be the starter type ad, especially considering that they worked hard to get the two tight ends back in retention. But who knows? I mean, a huge upside, big kid, 4-star recruit. You assume that he's going to be a pretty high character guy considering who his brother is. So good stuff there. Ole Miss did lose a few players as well. Delano Townsend, that one is an interesting one, because one thing that I really liked about the offensive line going into 2026 is the continuity, right? Possibly 4 starters already on the team, which would have been important, but Townsend hitting the portal has some SEC interest. Yeah, but you can guess one, because any Ole Miss player that was decent drew interest from that particular school. But I think that one hurts. Even if they are trying, and they are trying to portal recruit over him, he's still an experienced player that did help you this year. I know he was the lowest graded of the starting five. I know they're trying to recruit over him, but you don't want to lose an experienced offensive lineman, especially when there's not a whole lot of them quality ones in the portal. They had the Ohio State guy in for a visit this weekend. He left without committing. He's going to see Kentucky first before he makes his decision. I think now with Townsend gone, Ole Miss really needs to get him. They also have apparently another visitor on the offensive line coming as well, and it's Quay McBroom from Louisiana Monroe. Quay McBroom. I am not making that name up. The guy's name is Quay McBroom, and that is the coolest name of all time. And I truly need Ole Miss to get this guy so I can say the sentence or the phrase Quay McBroom as many times as humanly possible. So we'll see. I mean, he's also an interior offensive lineman. That they're going to need that now. That Townsend is gone. Apparently, he's also considering Alabama. So again, continuity is important on the offensive line. I know what his grades were, but I still think it hurts. You want to keep your experience on the offensive line. That's just me. Jaden Yates goes to Houston. Not surprised. His agent worked overtime in getting the Scoops people to continue to call him a starter. That's more of an appropriate league for him to play in, quite frankly. Chris Graves, Ricky Fletcher also gone. They have recruited the defensive back position over both of them, and they are hitting the portal. Makes sense to me. Again, there's only so many snaps to go around. You're not keeping guys like that when they're getting portaled over. So they are on their way. And then the least surprising news of all time, Winston Watkins immediately after Ole Miss lost, packed his bags and got on a plane to Baton Rouge. That was always going to be the guy that followed Lane Kiffin to LSU. Now, it certainly looks like Lane Kiffin thought there was going to be about a dozen guys that got on a plane and followed him. So far, only one. I mean, maybe he gets two, but that one was always going to happen. A lot of upside, good player, very talented, a lot of upside. His online behavior fits perfectly with the head coach that he is going to follow to LSU. But good player, good player. So what's next for Ole Miss? More retention on top of the portal guys that they're still working on. I think they've been working on Daugherty for a while. I think they've been working on Caden Lee for a while. They have not announced either one, although you have had the little signing emoji tweets out there. So maybe you're going to get some announcements on that tomorrow. I think you need to keep Daugherty. I know that he's kind of some fans, to me, don't appreciate what he does for that defense in the way that they should. He's a good college linebacker that when it comes to how important he is on the field, cannot be overstated. He plays every snap of so many games. I think they need to keep adding, though, so they can rotate the position a little bit more. But he's very helpful. They have not announced him returning yet. I expect it, but I don't know what the holdup is on that. When it comes to Caden Lee, that's another one that I think Ole Miss really needs, considering what they lost at wide receiver, and just he does not drop the football. And veteran leadership from seemingly a pretty good dude is always important in a locker room, especially that one in this time of kind of transition. But he's had some suitors. He's had some big money offers as well. But there's been some optimism that Ole Miss is going to hang on to him. Basically, everybody else is somebody that Ole Miss has already taken care of. So roster retention's been really awesome. Now they just need to add a couple more pieces in the portal. And here's a little nugget for you. So they're not done yet, right? But according to 24/7, Ole Miss currently has the number 5 portal class. Only 12 commits. The number 5 portal class, their average player rating, so how good their players are on average, is 4th in the country. So they are 4th in the country in average player rating in the transfer portal. They are 0.05 points behind Georgia for the 3rd spot. Miami and Texas slightly ahead of them on that. So, yeah, this is shaping up to be a very good portal class on top of what they have been able to retain as well. So, depending on what happens with the quarterback position, if Trinidad, if they find a way to get him to come back, you've got a no excuses roster, really, for 2026. So, anyway, podcast is brought to you in part by Priority One Bank. They make you their priority every day, like they do me with their online banking platform. It is all you need is an internet connection, and you can do everything with your money. It's very simple. It's user-friendly. They have 16 locations here with also local loan servicing and decision-making. It's somebody that you'll sit down with face-to-face instead of hopping on Zoom or talking to somebody out of state, because that's what they do at Priority One Bank. It's in the name. They make you their priority at Priority One Bank. To the comments we go. It's amazing that they've retained as many guys as they have. Winning sure helps sustain more success. Absolutely. Losing Townsend hurt. They need to I think Kern is somebody that they like at guard. So we'll see. I don't know. They've got a little bit more work to do, but they're in on a couple of guys still. All right, from Pete Thamel. So, hey, I was right. News. Lawyers for Ole Miss quarterback Trinidad Chambliss plan to file suit against the NCAA this week in a state court in Mississippi for a preliminary injunction to secure his eligibility for 26. Lawyer Tom Mars will work with noted Mississippi trial lawyer William Liston. Mars told ESPN that he and Liston have worked most of the weekend preparing a complaint. See, you guys never doubt me again. I told you. Not that it was any secret to anybody, but look. Hey, Scoop Sporky or whatever, have worked most of the weekend preparing a complaint for a preliminary and permanent injunction on behalf of Trinidad Chambliss. We expect the lawsuit to be far more detailed and documented than other eligibility lawsuits that have been filed in the past year. Therefore, considerable work needs to be done before we'll be prepared to seek an injunction that will allow Trinidad to play next season. Unless the NCAA Appeals Committee overturns the denial of the waiver before then, we are currently anticipating filing the lawsuit in Mississippi State Court towards the end of the week. In the meantime, we won't have any further comments. So I said Monday. I was wrong. No, the end of the week. But they are. You have your answer now on whether or not they're going to actually try to do this. And so there they go, or there you go. They're going to try, and so. Knowing what I have heard and what I've been told about William Liston in particular, and then knowing what you know very publicly about Tom Mars, I think you got to like your chances here, guys. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. But knowing what we know about the lawyers involved and where they're doing this, you've got to like their chances here. This Ole Miss team was very entertaining for America. Absolutely. Need defensive depth and more defensive depth. Yeah, they've added 3 on the defensive line. Wait. 2, 3. Yeah, they've added 3 on the defensive line. Wouldn't be surprised if another one late hops in as well. But they need playable depth. And they're retaining Jan Brown, which is important. I haven't seen anything on Maddox. I'd assume he's coming back as well. Those guys need to take a step forward. But they need more playable depth on the defensive line. So No wide receivers signed yet. I think that you will get your answer soon. But don't forget, I mean, retaining Deuce Alexander and if they can retain Caden Lee is very important. That's almost as good as adding a receiver in the portal because those are two guys that, I mean, one LSU wanted, probably thought that they were getting. And the other, apparently Georgia's made a heavy run at. And so if you can fight them off and keep those two, you're already keeping Alexander. That's a big deal. But if you can keep him and Lee, you've already, you're off to a good start in their receiver room. But I do think additions are coming. So tight end room is looking good. Love to have a Prieskorn back on the team. Need O-line right now. It'll probably be Harper at right tackle and Oliver at left guard with almost no depth. Nobody is going to have a whole lot of depth on the offensive line. Need one quarterback, 2 wide receiver, and 3 O-line. Anything else is a want. I agree with the 2 wide receiver. The quality of the third quarterback will be dependent on this Trinidad stuff. Much love to you too, Austin. Sorry you missed the post-game show Thursday. There's nothing to apologize for. Just too hurt by what you had just watched. Proud of the guys, but man, wanted that game Thursday night. They played hard, man. But the more physical team won the game. Any feelings on Lagway? Frankly, I like I said before, I'd rather. I see the lack of ability to protect the football, and maybe better coaching helps. I don't know, man. I don't know. Move mountains and get Trinidad back for another year. You got the right people on it. You do. Do they go after any wide receivers? Yes, they are. They are. I think that you're going to get news on one in particular very soon. So I think you will. TJ Finley being on his 7th team is ridiculous. It really is. But, well. Do you like the tight end pickup? Got 4 to re-sign, commit for Ole Miss, but they haven't announced yet. Need an update badly. I think you'll get it tomorrow. Maybe it's 9:30. No, I think you'll get those tomorrow. Max Johnson as well with 6 or 7 years. Ridiculous. Shout out to LSU on the Elon quarterback. They swung and missed on a lot of their quarterbacks. A lot. Got really good safeties in the portal. Yes, they did. I really like what they've done defensively. They have to close well on the other side to make it really like if Trinidad comes back as a top 5 team next year, as of right now, if they don't add another person, like literally don't add one more person, it's a top 5 team going into next season, without a doubt. But if they clean some things up on offense in the portal, then you're talking about a top 3 team, maybe. Only have a few things to check off the list. SEC title game appearance, SEC championship, Orange Bowl, Rose Bowl, national title. Man, I really just, you know me, Austin, I just don't care about the SEC championship anymore. Needed those safeties after watching Sage Ryan all year. God bless him. Wonder what they paid him. Probably not as much as the safeties are getting paid this year. Him and they're professional athletes. Gushikin also is somebody that needs to be recruited over. They could have been better there. Keith Carter seems all in on fighting for Trinidad. Needs to be. Catching is an issue with Odom, but can improve. Yeah, he did have a couple of drops. What is wrong with people acting like Watkins going to LSU is this breaking news? It's the worst secret in college football other than Deuce going to Ole Miss. Because LSU needs a win. They need a PR win. things have not gone the way that they were hoping they would go. They thought Lane was going to take everybody from Ole Miss with him. They thought they were getting Kewan Lacey. My God, they had Kewan Lacey jersey edits and all. I mean, they thought they were getting him, and they thought they were getting Deuce Alexander and Watkins and Prince Wilumon Mielen and this badass kicker. They thought they were getting everybody, and they didn't get everybody. So that's what that is. Need another D tackle. Yeah. What about the offensive line? Why did the guard dude leave? My guess is Ole Miss had a ceiling on what they were willing to pay him, and other schools have elevated that ceiling. Very nice. William Liston is from your hometown in Winona. Awesome. I think he initially ran the collective. He is a big part of why the Grove Collective is what it is right now. Big part of that. He's a very good person to have on your side, for sure. Need a replacement for Strib. I think they're getting one soon. I do. Trinidad and Deuce Knight's a good pickup. I like his upside. I do. How about the basketball team yesterday, by the way, guys? I mean, look, they are so far away from playing meaningful basketball that even kind of talking about a win right now feels a little goofy, but they're not dead yet, right? That's what you learned yesterday is, and Chris Beard after the game talked about how, they had Arkansas on the ropes and they just kind of fell apart. And then they beat Missouri, who's a good team. Like there's signs of life. There's something there. What you hope is, I mean, they're not making the tournament, right? They have to do so much winning in a sport that doesn't allow you to win that many games in a row or win the SEC tournament. Probably not happening, but signs of life are good. After what they did last year and after how they went through non-conference, I mean, can you win a couple of games here before you host Auburn and make Tuesday, January 20th, a big crowd and stuff like can you get people to, kind of pay attention to you for a little while and be interesting again? I think they can do that. Now, truly meaningful games, not really. But they showed signs of life, that they were tougher, rebounded the basketball better, especially in the second half of that game. So there's something there. There's signs. There's a sign of life. There's a pulse, I suppose. Caleb Cunningham, can he step in next year and be a role player? I think so. That was a hard receiver room to crack, especially for a young, pretty raw player. So it certainly sounds like, the talent evaluation was accurate, right? Like he is as talented as they thought that he would be. We'll see. We will see. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, though, that, they don't need to get any portal receivers because they have Caleb Cunningham. You need to see a whole hell of a lot more before you start saying that, he's going to, step in for DeJon Stribling and be him, Women's team is doing great. They are. I saw that they beat State today. Any word on the new defensive coordinator hire? What's he like? He and Pete go way back. But as far as I understand it, I mean, he's defensive coordinator. I mean, they help with game planning and all that stuff, but Pete's still calling the plays. So, but having that influence, especially from an NFL guy, certainly helps, especially because Golding strikes me as the type, and it sounds like he's the type that is willing to bring in people and hear their ideas and make adjustments based on what other people have recommended to him. That he's like that. He's not stubborn, he's willing to listen to other people, and somebody that spent some time in the NFL will have some ideas on how to stop these more intricate offenses. So thoughts about Pete calling plays next season. I'm curious about that, if maybe he considers giving those duties up if it becomes too much. But, man, he navigated all this pretty darn well, right? Random, but why does Kirk Herbstreit hate Ole Miss so much? I don't think he hates Ole Miss. I just think that he was so off on the Kiffin thing in ways that is impossible to describe, and heard about it. Probably didn't like what he heard. Man. It is so funny to think back on what people argued that Ole Miss should let Kiffin continue coaching, and think about the position that Ole Miss would be in right now if they would have let Lane coach to the playoff. Think about the position that they'd be in right now. You would not be looking at 2026 anywhere close to the same way that you are right now. The roster retention doesn't go down the way that it went down. I agree. I don't think they would have won the Georgia game. It would have been a circus is what it would have been. An absolute circus. And Keith Carter made the right decision. He did. So, anyway. Always a chance Matthews performs as a freshman wide receiver. Yeah, but they need to go. They need to get a couple out of the portal. We'll see if they do. I appreciate you guys as always. We'll be back on Tuesday. Or wait, when's the next basketball game? It's Wednesday. Okay, so we're good. We'll be back on Tuesday. There will be news between now and then. So I will see you guys then. Really, really, really appreciate you. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Also, Advantage Business Systems, absms.com is the website. If you're in the market for office technology in the state of Mississippi, Advantage Business Systems has you covered at absms.com. I will see you guys on the next one.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.